Hi, I'm Anna, and this is my writer's survival tip number 5. Light a candle even in the daytime. And I could have shown you a lit candle, but now I work in the shed. I tend not to light candles in here just because it's completely made of wood. Um, but it's something I like to do in the morning, as long as my son isn't sort of running around. If I'm doing yoga, um, I like to light a candle, and I find it can be a really comforting presence, and something there's something quite hopeful about it, even in the daytime. Something to sort of focus on. Um, but I suppose that's part of um, a bigger thing about what is it that you what is it that you like to have in your space. Um, what do you like to have on the walls? And how can you design your space that you're working in to best serve your needs? And I'm aware as I'm saying that I feel incredibly privileged to have a shed that I can work in. I got this early this year, and it's just really changed my life. I'm aware for a long time. I mean, I think during the pandemic, I was working from my son's bedroom, sharing that with my son's father. Um, you may have a tiny little nook. You may not have a specific space to work. You might be working at the kitchen table, and so it might not be easy to sort of decorate your space as you want. But I think stuff like the candle, um, having stuff in your eye line that you find inspiring or calming can be really, really useful. So, what I keep in my space and what I is in my eye line essentially really has changed over the years. Um, I thought about tidying my shed today so I could give you a little look, but then I just didn't. But after in 2013, I won an award called the Bruntwood Prize for a play that I'd written called Yen, and it was an absolutely life-changing moment for me. And one of the best things about it was the prize money. I mean, that sounds, but it's true, because I was in quite a bit of debt at that point, and it basically enabled me to pay off my debts and to spend more time writing, and that was amazing. And part of that was investing some of that money in a writing space at Hackney Down Studio. So I was part of an artist studio where we had little compartments, and because Yen had been such a huge thing for me, the first thing that went up on the walls were the press cuttings about the prize. As the show went into production, the posters would go up, photos. I still got one here, so I've still got one in my eye line. Um, what else? What was I saying? Sorry. Yeah, so I'd have basically all of my Yen stuff up, all of my other plays and stuff that I'd done, flyers. It was a My space was an example of all the stuff I'd done. It was a record of what I'd achieved so far, because I thought that would be the way to spur me on. But actually, after a while, I realized it wasn't helpful to me, because I didn't find it inspirational. I found it too pressurizing. Look at all this great stuff I did. You're probably not going to be able to do that again. Um, I think that it was very difficult after Yen. I was like, what am I going to write next? And so actually having that stuff up added an unnecessary pressure to me. I do still have a couple of little newspaper cuttings, not in my eye line though. So I then started decorating my space with things that I found beautiful or interesting or powerful or impactful, and are very often abstract, and postcards and different bits of art. And I found that was a much better fit for me, because I needed to be stimulated in a different way. I didn't want to just be thinking about the past and thinking about what I'd done. So it might be for you that you really need to have those reminders of things you've done and things you've achieved. Um, and those things give you strength and keep you moving. Or you may be similar to me, that you think, actually, I don't want to, I don't want to have that there. I want essentially my workspace to be a kind of clean slate. Um, so now I tend to have postcards and stuff up. I've got a couple of, I've got quotes up that sort of inspire me. Art is the ability to tell the truth. Richard Pryor. I've got the definition of audacious, which is showing a willingness to take surprisingly bold risks, which is super useful for me to have up there, just as a reminder of the kind of work I would like to make or could make. I've got this quote. I've cut this out, and it's from a workshop I did with some school kids, and I can't really remember which one it is, but we must have asked them what they'd like to see on stage. And it says, I would like to see a cool 16-year-old teen, and his name is Danny, stroke Dan. He has an overprotective dad and mum, but one day his life changes over stress or anger. He can turn into a dragon that's blue. I just really love the specificity of that, and the sort of the scope of it. It's so beautiful. So perhaps there's quotes, perhaps there's poems that you want to put up that inspire you. I tend to have a lot of photos at the moment. My mum has died, so I like to have a lot of photos of her around, and I like to have photos when she's young as well. This is when she was an actress. Probably she's about my age there, actually, I think. I have, yeah, postcards, pictures of the people I love. I'm not sure about that though, actually. I think I'm not sure if I'm writing about sex that I want to have my son staring back at me as he is now in these photos. So, so maybe photos are right for you. Maybe photos are like what's inspiring you to write. God, this has gone long now. I wanted to make this a short one. This is a poster of my favourite film, Harold and Maude. So I think generally, whether it's art or movie posters or even theatre flyers, surrounding myself with the art of other people is generally more inspiring and more useful for me than surrounding myself with evidence of my own art, if that makes sense. Um, just to say, that's a space I rented at Hackney Down Studio. I then sublet for a while to a brilliant playwright called Kendall Fever. And when she moved into the space, she messaged me and said, like, I just really can't deal with this. It's like your brain's exploded all over the wall. And she was very sweet about it, but she said, would you mind if I just covered everything up? And I said, no, of course. And so she covered it with sort of brown lining paper, which made the most incredible calming space. So maybe the space that you need, maybe this is what I need. I think this is what I need. Maybe your life is so massively cluttered that what you need in your workspace is calm and smooth and spare and economical. So yeah, have a think about what you have in your space that helps you to work.